We got an hour left on KCMO, and the man himself, Ray Stevens, takes over at 10 o'clock here on 95.7 FM KCMO, and he is in Chicago. The DNC is there, of course, this week. It is his hometown, and Ray, I just want to start off with this. The protests looked like they got a little hairy last night. What do we know as of this morning with those anti-Israel protests happening right outside the DNC?
Well, you know, there's a lawyer group, a national lawyer group that is now condemning the work of the Chicago police for getting too heavy-handed with the protesters. You know, the way they pushed them back. I guess there were several arrests. There was some protester that ended up in the hospital and whatnot. So now they're out saying that they're condemning the Chicago police because of the brutal tactics they used. And I think this is more. Listen, the Chicago police are doing everything by the book right now. Are there going to be some bumps and bruises? Oh, you bet there are. But here's what's problematic for today. And we've talked about this a lot. The Israeli-American Foundation here in Chicago couldn't get permitting for a lot of the demonstrations they wanted to do. They couldn't even get permits to have video. They couldn't buy video billboards at the airports to talk about the plight of some of the Jewish hostages. So it seems to be one-sided. So what happened here on the west side of Chicago, Pete, is there was a private business owner that owns a large tract of land just to the west of the United Center. That's the building where this is being housed, and it's in close proximity to the DNC. So they have now, the Jewish Federation has been able to put up a stage, and they will be able to do their demonstrations there. And it is in close proximity to where this pro-Palestinian protests are. And, man, I got to tell you, if there's a chance of a problem happening, it's going to happen today.
Now, why today, though? Why today versus, say, yesterday? Is it just growing in size on each side?
Well, it's growing in size, but now yesterday there wasn't a place for the Israeli Federation to stand and do their thing and say their piece. So, you know, they were in proximity to the United Center and in some smaller form at the McCormick Place, which is at the south end of the city of Chicago. But and then in another area where they will have demonstrations today, the American Israeli Foundation will have their talk at the Union Park, and then an hour later, the pro-Palestinian crowd is going to be there. And the problem there is that crowd is going to be waiting to get into the park while the Israeli Federation is doing their thing, and it will get heated. I mean, you can see the writing on the wall on that one.
Wow. Okay, so today's potentially the day, and obviously we hope none of this happens, but today could be the day. So with that being said, with the Chicago police now on their heels as well, with complaints coming in on their end, what are you hearing from your cop buddies and people you know from your time being up there?
Well, what I'm hearing is that if you go, and this is really telltale about what the temperature is here. You're going to see all the pretty stuff. Even on Fox News, the convention center looks good.
Yep.
The United Center looks good. The city, Pete, the city looks pretty. I mean, they've been working on this city for the better part of a year. It's like you've got relatives coming over for the Christmas party and you want to put the best foot forward. That's what they've done here. Now, the thing here is if you get out to the collar counties, to the suburbs, there is a staging area in Lombard at some of the hotels in Lombard, which is a suburb about, I would say, 10 miles out of the city proper. And it looks like they're ready to go if they have to war with the state police, with the some of the urban assault vehicles, if you will, that are lined up and ready to go in. And the National Guard is here. Chicago, if you've ever kept track of what's going on, Summer of Love, when some of the protests were going on, President Trump said, hey, we need to bring the National Guard to Chicago. Well, Chicago always pushed back on that. We don't need the National Guard. We can take care of this ourselves. I'm here to tell you, the National Guard is here, and they have a large presence. And the Milwaukee police has a large presence, as well as state police, and they're ready for anything. And Pete, what they do here when times get terse is they put up the bridges so you can't get from what they call the loop in Chicago to the south side of Chicago to keep protesters from walking across the bridges that cover the Chicago River. Then you have snowplows that cordon off a lot of the corridors and miles and miles of fencing in some of the biggest streets in Chicago. I can't even imagine what this cost. I mean, for a political party that doesn't think walls and fences work, well, they sure are using them.
Ray Stevens, you hear him every day, 10 to noon on KCMO. He is in Chicago, his hometown, where, of course, the DNC is taking place. So what's it been like trying to navigate the city? Is it obvious that this is going on as you go around to other parts just with traffic delays and things of that nature?
Pete, the scary thing, and this is really telltale of Chicago. A lot of people don't want to live in the city, but they know they can make a living in the city, so they live in the suburbs. The average commute speed on all of the expressways that lead into the city is 7 miles an hour every morning.
Jeez.
Some people have up to a 2.5-hour commute, and that's from places that are only 40 miles away.
Gosh.
Eerily quiet because people feel that this might turn bad based on what we've seen before, and people are staying home. So your morning commute and your afternoon commute isn't bad, but in the evening, when things get going on around the DNC, which is Madison Avenue, a big thoroughfare in Chicago, and then the Eisenhower Expressway just to the south of United Center, that is problematic because they're worried that protesters are going to take to the streets, and that is why people are staying away. People are trying to stay away because of the foot traffic and the sheer sizes of the crowds outside of the United Center. If the news media did their job, you will see a picture of a large presence with a lot of problems, not a lot of arrests, because this is Cook County, right? Mm-hmm. They'll pat you on the back, they'll throw you in the back of a police car and dump you out in another neighborhood. But it is not as quiet on the Western Front as you would like to think the media is showing it to be.
Wow. Yeah, it looks great. Fox, CNN, they all look nice and cozy in their big chairs. Mm-hmm. But you're saying right outside, security's tight and it's totally chaotic.
Pete, here, if any of these people were worth their weight, what they would do is they would get out of their fancy little chairs and go into some of these neighborhoods. Show me Pete Buttigieg, show me Kamala Harris, show me Kim Jong-Walls in some of the inner city, hardest hit neighbors of Chicago. They'd be afraid to go there with the security detail, and that's a fact.
Oh, that's true. All right, man. Well, I know you're doing great work. I didn't see it yet. I'm going to find it, though. You did a little Fox hit this morning. How about that, brother?
I often join Fox and Friends early, but I looked up here just a few minutes ago, and there was my very tired-looking, over-maked-up face on Fox News.
Who's doing the makeup? You?
Me, yeah.
Oh, gosh. You are such a pro, man. You're such a pro.
I'll go to the Mac store and get the base. I'll put it on.
You're gonna have to teach me, man, because every time I do any TV here in Kansas City, someone's like, "You got to start wearing makeup." It's like, oh gosh, do I really?
All you have to do is go to an Ulta store, give one of the young ladies that works there $50, and they'll treat you like you're a god.
Is that right?
That's the trick.
Sounds like you know from experience.
I promise you.
Okay. Oh man, you're doing great work, and we appreciate you being here. And we'll be listening for the local Flair coming up at 10 o'clock, my man.
You got it, sir. Thank you, Pete.
All right, Ray Stevens, 10 to noon. He is in Chicago this week, his hometown. Of course, the DNC goes into day 2. Obama hitting the big stage tonight. That could be one of the highlights for him. Listen, not a fan of the guy's politics, but damn, he knows how to give a speech, and he's still in his prime, unlike many of them.